Testing, testing, testing.
Good afternoon. Welcome to voicemail. You have no new messages and 14 saved messages. Yeah, g'day everyone. Coming on a little bit early. Got sick of waiting. So we're technically supposed to start at 3, which is in a couple of minutes. But thought I'd get on and have a bit of a chin wag, a chat while we're waiting for that. So we had a very big night last night. We live streamed the Senate. My God. I'm actually getting better at testing now, but now I forget to turn off the sound on where with the page I'm testing. So good to see it's working. So last night, yeah, we had a 5-hour live stream. We live streamed like Australia versus the Agenda does. If you watch them, we had the Senate debate discussion and then votes. Votes took forever, and I just commented throughout. And then we had Ben from I think it's What's Talk. I'll give him a plug later on. He jumped on board, and we had a great chat between a boomer and a zoomer, and we just talked about all things politics and where the Liberals are heading and One Nation, and not so much the ALP. It's interesting. You know, this should have been a disaster for the ALP, this whole Bondi thing, and it's ended up being a disaster for the Liberals. So my feed is just full of people who just believe the Liberals are going to have so many people flooding away. But better be careful I don't get into a rant too soon. So we had 180 viewers last night near about. So we may get a few on today. We'll see. Just in case it is. If there's any newbies out there, each time I get on. My God, I'm in the mirror effect again. Hold on, guys. I think that's, yeah, I am too. Just bear with me. Just got to go into my settings. Settings. I think it's settings. Guess showing my video. Toshiba. Yeah, it's got me. How the hell did I get mirror camera on there? Does it to me all the time. Just gets me in that automatically. That's better. So that's how I picked it up first time I showed the book. I'm going, that writing's backwards. But for everyone, we do, if you haven't been with me before, we read a passage out of the Bible. That's our tribute to Charlie Kirk, because he was very much a devout Christian. So we just do this one in honor of him, and then we get on to our rant. Good for me, because very therapeutic. It's a word I'm using a lot lately. It brings me back to some gentler things before I go to get a bit nasty. So we'll see how it goes. And yes, we are going to be ringing Andrew Hastie's office. So just tested everything there. So let's get this done first. Life based on forgiveness. Sometimes these Bible extracts are fun. They so coincide. So we're about to ring Hastie's office and we're doing an extract about forgiveness. Might be very appropriate. Anyway, let's see. Jesus and Simon the Pharisee. Luke 7:36 through 50. Jesus illustrates how genuine love is far superior to any kind of respectability. Behind the woman's loving actions, Jesus was quick to detect real faith. The Pharisee invited Jesus to have dinner with him, and Jesus went to his house and sat down to eat. In that town was a woman who lived in a sinful life. She heard that Jesus was eating in the Pharisee's house, so she brought an alabaster jar full of perfume and stood behind Jesus, by his feet crying and wetting his feet with her tears. Then she dried his feet with her hair, kissed them, and poured the perfume on them. When the Pharisee saw this, he said to himself, if this man really were a prophet, he would know who this woman is who is touching him, and he would know what kind of sinful life she lives. Jesus spoke up and said to him, Simon, I have something to tell you. Yes, teacher, he said, tell me. There were two men who owed money to a moneylender, Jesus began. One owed him 500 silver coins and the other owed him 50. Neither of them could pay him back, so he cancelled the debts of both. Which one then will love him more? I suppose, answered Simon, that it would be the one who was forgiven more. You are right, said Jesus. Then he turned to the woman and said to Simon, do you see this woman? I came into your home and you gave me no water for my feet, but she has washed my feet with her tears, dried them with her hair. You did not welcome me with a kiss, but she has not stopped kissing my feet since I came. You provided no olive oil for my head, but she has covered my feet with perfume. I tell you then, the great love she has shown proves that her many sins have been forgiven. But whoever has been forgiven little shows only little love. Then Jesus said to the woman, your sins are forgiven. The others sitting at the table began to say to themselves, who is this who even forgives sins? But Jesus said to the woman, your faith has served you. Go in peace. Could be a few Liberals needing to read that in coming weeks. We'll see how we go. Again, if you haven't been with me before, one thing we do before we start our rants, which will be the call to Hastie, we give everyone a bit of a look at the weather in Melbourne. If you're not in Melbourne, doesn't matter, but I've got a good view here at Port Phillip Bay. So there is the bay, beautiful day in Melbourne. Still a bit blowy. It's been a bit blowy for quite some time now. You can see, I don't know whether you can see it, but the choppy waves in the bay over there. We got a beautiful side view. Crappy house, but the views are great. And a little bit of cloud over near the Dandenong Ranges, same as yesterday pretty much. But blue skies, nice day. It's not too hot, not too cold. Yesterday I was on the verge of the hot side. We're just getting ready for apparently what is supposed to be a hot weekend coming up. So, yeah, That's where it is. So before we bring Andrew, let's have a little bit of a rant. And we're not going to, I very much doubt we're going to get Andrew. We'll get one of his office staff. May last 30 seconds, may last 3, may last a bit longer. We'll see how we go. But, these guys are accountable to us. And I think Andrew Hastie's got a lot to say. He built up my hopes. He built up a lot of your hopes. We all thought he was the next leader of the Liberal Party. And then he backflipped in the space of 48. And it wasn't just a backflip. Some people are saying, oh, well, others have backflipped before. This wasn't just a backflip. This was a massive backflip. You can't say you're voting against a bill and list all the reasons, and we all supported him on that. And then, when the bill comes before him, he votes for it. And I was listening to Michael McCormack this morning. If you get the chance, listen to it. Kieran Gilbert interviewed him, and it was a disaster. McCormack admitted, and don't just get this right. McCormack voted for this legislation. On this morning, he said the ALP just rammed it through. They didn't give him enough notice. There wasn't enough time to go through it properly. Yesterday was all chaos. There was amendments going left, right, and centre. No one pretty much knew exactly where they were. It was total chaos. That's how we painted it. So naturally, I'm just sitting there and going, well, if it's so chaotic, if you can't be 100% sure what you're voting for, how could you possibly vote yes? Kieran Gilbert, for whatever reason, never asked that question because he's an idiot. I mean, he had Tony Burke on, and he had Tony Burke on yesterday. He had Tony Burke on today. He had Allegra Spender on yesterday. I can't remember what other nitwit he had on the day. That's right, the CEO of the Australian Jewish Community Jury, something or other. And he was all for the hate speech laws. So he keeps bringing on people that favour the hate speech laws and all this sort of thing. And Tony Burke gets handled with kid gloves, no hard questions. So, he was a bit tough from McCormack, but he should have asked him that. So it's just beyond bizarre that they can say now that this legislation was so good when only 2 days ago it was a total shit show. And according to Michael McCormack, it was total chaos yesterday. So how in God's name can you vote something so important through? Makes no sense. And I'm sure plenty of you are like me. We went till 1:30 last night. It was a long night, but it was fun. So we had a good chat about this. And there was me, Ben, I think we had a few things from, I'll get a name wrong here, Judy. She was terrific. She gave us a few comments. And, got a comment here already. And, we were all flabbergasted by what the Liberals did. We just couldn't understand the strategy, if nothing else. So, oh no, that's just me saying I'm going to be on a 3. So I've decided today, middle of last year, I actually voted. God, I'm having a bad day. I actually rang up Andrew Hastie's office. And this was not long after he resigned from the front bench to abandon net zero. And I thought, we've got a conviction politician here. All right, what the hell is the conviction politician? We don't get many of these. So I'll ring him up and I'll see if I can support him. He's just given up a lot in wages to go from the shadow cabinet to the back bench. After spending about an hour on the phone with his staff, got nowhere and basically was told, yeah, thanks, but no thanks, which, it was a bit annoying if I'm being brutally honest. So, g'day, Judy. How you going? So today I thought, I was always going to do this, but I wasn't going to do it over live stream. And I thought, you know what? I need to share this phone call with all of you. And let's see. We'll probably get one of his office staff. I've got to be open with them. I've got to tell them it's a live stream, and we are recording it. I think by law you're supposed to do it. It varies from state to state. But to be fair, and let's see if they're prepared to talk to what was, I think, predominantly Liberal voters for quite some time. But after last night are now going, no, we're going to One Nation. Let's give them a chance to defend themselves. Let's see what they say. And let's have a bit of fun with it. Let's see how we go. So bear with me. Got to get my phone out. And I've got his number up here. So hopefully this all comes through. First time I've ever done it. But we'll see. It should be about 12 o'clock over there. Here's their number. And we'll get it up against the keyboard. If there's any problems with sound, send me a message through. Before I do it, I'll put my aircon off here because it can be a bit noisy. And here we go.
Thank you for calling the office of Andrew Hasty, Federal Member for Canning. Our office is open from Monday to Friday. Please leave a message and a member of our team will be back in touch with you as soon as possible. Alternatively, you may like to email at andrew.hasty.mp@aph.gov.au. Thank you and goodbye.
Yeah, g'day. Disappointing on an important day like this to get a message, but my name's Bob Mann. I run a conservative podcast in Melbourne. I've got 11,000 followers. We're doing a live stream at the moment, and we were hoping to get someone from the office to talk to about why Andrew backflipped on his commitment to vote no against these hate speech laws. So if there is someone in the office and you get this message, feel free to ring me back on this number. You should have it recorded in your phone system there now. I'm not keen on giving it out entirely on a live stream, as you'd understand. And if nothing else, you can email me at bob_mann, that's MANN, at theconservative.com.au. And arrange for Andrew or anybody from your office to contact me, and I'll be more than happy to host them on our podcast. There is a lot of conservative voters here that want an explanation because we're all going to One Nation. So if you want a man of defence and try and convince people to stay with you guys, I'd suggest you get on the phone or get on my email, get on the phone, get back to me, and let's see if we can chat and you can justify what you've done. Most of us think it's pretty unjustifiable. But most people I get following me are conservative voters, and we were holding out for Andrew to be our white knight in shining armour. We thought he was the next answer. We're absolutely gutted by his vote yesterday. So you can ignore us and we'll all go to One Nation. You can get back in and then maybe you have some semblance of a chance of changing minds and hearts. But that's entirely up to you guys. Look forward to some communication going forward. There you go. Well, that's disappointing. They're all on holidays. Or are they just battering down the hatches because they know they're going to cop it? So I sort of anticipated that, so I've got another one. I thought if I can't get through to Hasty, I'm going to try Alex Antic. So let's try. He's got two contacts here. One is his Adelaide office and one is his Canberra office. I'm curious to see whether Alex is going to remain committed to the LNP. Now, we probably won't, to be fair, we won't get an answer on that, but it'd be interesting to pick his brains. Let's see how we go.
Just speaking with Jack. How can I help you?
G'day, Jack. How are you, mate?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Oh, I'm very good. I'm glad you answered the phone. We just tried Andrew Hasty's office and we got a message back. So, look, I'm just giving you a heads up, mate. I run a conservative podcast. So I'm on a live stream at the moment. We're ringing around a few of the Liberal Party politicians to get some thoughts on their vote on this legislation last night. So if you're comfortable, and look, Alex Antic would be probably the most popular Liberal going around with your, what I'd say was your conservative base. So we're keen to see why Andrew backflipped on his commitment to vote no, but we're also keen to talk to Alex or anybody at the office there is prepared to speak to us and get your thoughts on the vote yesterday and the legislation that sadly got up.
Right. Well, look, Senator Antic's not available for comment right now.
Yep, I understand that.
As his staff member, I can do my best to represent his views and his stances, but beyond that, I can't really comment much. But
No.
what you wanted to hear.
No, I can understand. Now, this is where maybe Senator Antic, and mate, he's more than welcome to come on my podcast. We had a fantastic night last night. We live streamed the Senate hearings and the vote, and then I had a guest come on, and we talked for probably 3 hours. Got a lot of feedback. Had our biggest viewership. So we're very supportive of Alex's stance on this. We think it's integral. Look, the biggest feeling from the response we got from the people that follow us and on the feed, which was a huge response, is I think everybody, this is a sad thing for probably you guys, everybody that was intending and hoping that the Liberal Party would come back to what it was, basically to Alex's stance, are devastated. And the overwhelming feeling is they're all moving to One Nation. And I think the overwhelming question would be, with Mr. Antic, he represents our values. He voted against this. That was an act of integrity, and you can pass this on to him. We are all moving, unless something dramatic happens, to support One Nation now because they opposed it. Alex opposed it. The overwhelming question that I'm seeing on social media is, will Alex Antic potentially move across to One Nation? Because we don't see that the Liberal Party anymore shares his values.
Well, on every occasion he's been asked that question,
I
he's
couldn't.
maintained the answer that no, he's happy where he is as part of the Liberal
Yep.
Party, and it's because he believes that the foundational values of the Liberal Party are reflective of his own values, and irrespective of whether the party's leadership drips from those values, he himself still feels that they hold true.
Okay, so on a question on...
That's about as much as I'm able to,
Okay.
because I'm essentially just able to...
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
In the past, I mean, these are questions you would need to ask him.
Yeah,
directly.
well, beautiful. So you got the background of what we want to talk to him about. So, mate, he would have we'd have some legitimate questions, but I think he's got a supportive audience here, and it would be great to get him on board if he wants to come on the live stream, the podcast, and have a chat with us. Happy to do that anytime that he's interested, if you pass that on.
So, what's the name of your podcast?
Well, the podcast is called the Eureka Conservative. Now, we normally run it Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock, but I also do another live stream like I'm doing right now about mid-afternoon, but we're happy to schedule it any time when we've got an interview because we understand he would have a fair few commitments going forward. So you can look up my feed. It's at the Conservative, so it's conservative right up to VE. The VE is not included, and then it's 19. So you can get that off that, or you can just email me, mate. It's you can DM me via the Twitter handle, or you could email me. It's at bob_man, MANN, at theconservative.com.au.
All right. I'll pass this on to him.
All right, that'd be brilliant.
All right. All the best.
You're on, mate. Same for you, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you.
See ya. There you have it. That is not surprising. Actually, it was good that Alex Antic's office picked up. I'll tell you what, every day now going forward, we might try one politician and see if we can't at some stage snag one. We'll include that in our rant. So we didn't get Hasty's office. I'll send them an email. We got Antic's office. That was good. And hopefully they can pass on now. We can get Alex Antic on either our live stream during the day or on our podcast on Tuesdays. And let's talk to him. Let's find out. And I can then share it with my social media. He can share it with his. I can't cop that line that he just said about how the Liberal Party now, his values stand true. I mean, Antic has now crossed the floor several times. So, and even he said he was pretty upset by that vote last night. So the Liberal Party is not representing his values. One Nation is. One Nation voted exactly the same way Alex Antic did. They value free speech. The Liberal Party doesn't. The Liberal Party, even today in Parliament, Susan Ley was up there boasting about how she changed this legislation. It was because of her and the Liberals we got what we've got. And if anyone saw, and I'll show you this, I'll get it up. It's beyond bizarre. I think this is very much worth having a look up. I've got to get it up. Sorry. I didn't have it up. That was stupid of me. while I rattle on, I'll get this up. There was a post. It's interesting as well. This is like as soon as they put it through the lower house, the Liberal Party machine was ready to get out their social media memes and clips and all that sort of thing. Susan Lay got out one. I gotta try and find it. Sorry, my whatever you would. Where is it? Support agreed. I'm just going through there. Sorry, guys. Just give me a tick. God, I'm getting a lot of responses to a lot of these threads. I'll tell you what I should do is I should give you a look at them. What am I doing? I'll share my screen. I'll make it a bit more interesting for you. The response to this has been overwhelming. I might have to go into Deirdre. I'm going to ring my MP and tell him Lee needs to he doesn't like Susan and has actually contested the leadership against her. Oh, wonder I've got to say, who's your MP? Wonder if that's Angus Taylor. Very interesting. I didn't look at the yay votes. Did anyone see whether Taylor voted yesterday? He's gone so quiet, Angus Taylor. He must have abstained or voted yes because he wasn't in the nose. Michaela Cash was another interesting one that abstained, which is really interesting because when she got up to speak last night, she basically threatened every other single LNP person to vote for that legislation. And as we're all seeing this morning, the repercussions, they didn't. Michael McCormick, like I said earlier, Michael McCormick was on Sky News. It was a disaster. So anyway, this is going to be interesting. I've just got to find this one. I tell you what am I doing? Sometimes I'm very play on the pickup. I get good at it after a while. Here we go. We're going to Susan Lay's. Here she is. It's been up for 28 hours. Now, everyone's talking about polls. We don't need a poll. We just don't need it. Have a look at this. So she put out a clip and she's claiming, how they did this. Labor produced a clumsy and deeply flawed package of legislation that collapsed under scrutiny, divided the parliament and risked encroaching on fundamental freedoms. As a result of Liberal Party action, the legislation has been narrowed, strengthened and properly focused on keeping Australians safe. She's owning this legislation. And she said, this is hilarious. She's had 77,000 views and 76 likes. Oh, my God. Oh, I don't think this one did much better. So, again, it was just a meme, this one. When Australians demanded action, the Prime Minister delivered a clumsy and deeply flawed piece of legislation. The Liberal Party is stepping up to do the hard work he would not, fixing the phase and putting the focus where it belongs on keeping Australians safe from anti-Semitism and violent Islamist extremism. Well, that got 51,000 views and 104 likes. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen ratios like that. So combined, she's had 138,000 views for under 200 likes. That is gobsmacking. That is, oh my God, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. And the funny, as you heard with that guy I just had from Antic's office, he would have staff. Antic, for example, has got 2 offices. That means Lee would have her office in Canberra. She would have her electorate office. And they would be all going through these social media feeds. Little wonder they're bunking down. They are getting smashed. Who we got here? We got a few comments. Let's have a read. This is going to be a fun few weeks. JC rules. Politicians are all a bunch of bad actors working together on their own agenda, distracting from what's really happening behind the curtain. Let's hope they're not all that way. I totally hear what you're saying. And sadly, too many of the Liberals now have shown their true colours, but we do have the likes of Alec Dantic that voted no. There was a couple of them also. I think they're the LNP senators from Queensland who also voted no. So we do have some people in there, and we don't know how much pressure, like Michaelia Cash really went hard at MPs. And I think you've also got to look at the ones who abstained and cut them a little slack. So for Michaelia Cash to abstain, that's a pretty big move by her. She is in the cabinet, and you're expected to toe the line in the cabinet. And for her to abstain was a very big thing. It's interesting the media haven't gone in and interviewed her. They're interviewing everyone else, but she's probably gone to ground as well. So good point, JC. Totally agree. But we got to maintain hope. We've got One Nation. I'm not a big fan of Senator Babette, but he's got our values. So I've got to swallow my pride there and say, well, we got to back him. We got to back One Nation, and we've got to really swing behind them now. They're the only ones who are delivering our values or representing him. Libs are getting totally. Yeah, Judy, isn't it funny? I don't know whether to laugh or cry. That's the funny thing, because we need an opposition, and whether we want to be realistic about this, there is a pathway, I think, for government for One Nation, but they're going to have to tick every box. I'm going to come to that in a minute. They're going to have to tick every single box to win government, and we need to win government. We need to get the ALP out. So while we can have a bit of a laugh and chuckle, and while we can celebrate the rise of One Nation, if that doesn't deliver us government, we're still going to have Albo and his mob. They're still there. So the one thing it does give us all is a lot of clarity. I've been holding out for the Liberals to wake up to themselves. I haven't voted for them for 13 years, but the moment they go back to the old Liberal values, I would probably get right behind them. But now I don't know whether, even if they did that, I could trust them. They've shown themselves, haven't they, to be charlatans. Anyway, let's have a bit more of a look at our Twitter. Let's have a look at some of the comments in here. Let's see what at least give her credit. She has the courage to have her comments open. Some of them have got it turned off. Resign. I'm not going to say the one. Sell out, Liberals are done. That's a very common theme, sellouts, Labor light. I can't believe you had the nerve to come on here and cry about the work you've done in Parliament, which has betrayed those who voted for the Liberal Party. I can tell you one thing, your party is dead and buried, and you are the one who killed it. Be proud. That's pretty much on the money. We will never forget that Liberal and Labor are the same uni party working in lockstep for each other. You guys are no opposition. I can't wait till One Nation takes your place. Again, I'll put my hand up. I've been trying to defend the Liberals, even with Susan Ley. I thought she was making a lot of the right noises in the hope that they would wake up to themselves. I've given up on that now. So the uni party tag, look, they must be aware of the uni party tag, and yet bizarrely their strategy was to go into bed with the ALP, which is only going to reinforce the uni party tag with the most unpopular legislation probably ever put before an Australian Parliament. If they didn't want to be, this was their golden opportunity to split from the uni party bullshit. I mean, do they not have ears to the ground? The strategy behind all this is nuts. After voting Liberal for years, I've had enough. Morrison was bad screwing us over during COVID, but your actions supporting this bill are the nail in the coffin. Yep, I'll be voting One Nation and preferencing Labor ahead of you, who are just Labor-light. Well, I agree with that, except for preferencing Labor. Vote One Nation and preference an independent. Don't preference Labor or the Greens wherever you can. And even after last night, you're better off preferencing. At least the Liberals do have some people in their ranks that are against this. So you're far better off preferencing the Liberals before Labor, but that would come down the ranking. What a piece of crap you are, Susan. You have betrayed the Australian people. I hope One Nation takes the balance of power from the coalition. Well, I'd rather them take government. I sincerely hope that Pauline has enough votes to destroy the Liberal and Labor duopoly. All the participants deserve to go to jail. Albo freaked you out, hey? So now the combined plan of Labor, Liberals, Greens, Teals is go after One Nation. We see you loud and clear. You should be, oh my God. So, this is what one of their staffers would be doing. They would go through this. You have reaped the whirlwind and will now have to live with the consequences. You do not represent the majority of the people. We are beyond pissed. You have betrayed your voter base. You have finished. As a lifelong Liberal voter and for a time a paid member, I'm finished. One Nation is looking good. I will vote for them and pay a membership to help them along the way. Most of my Liberal friends are also saying they will now go with Pauline Hanson and One Nation. She can only be better than you, Susan Lay, and Albo. Done. You made a deal with the devil. You sided with the devil on not. No, this is a good point. This is one of the better points. You made a deal with the devil. You sided with the devil on not allowing public debate. That makes you a devil. That is actually a really good point. I mean, don't forget the legislation. But if you're a political party and you're going to put something that is going to get your base so upset, and they must have known it, at least give yourself time to explain it, to debate it, and show the reasons for why you're going to this and convince the base to come with you. They didn't even give them a chance to do that. The whole strategy was just nuts. Your 30 pieces of silver to sell your soul. According to Tony Burke, as interviewed on ABC, he was quoted as saying, the laws are needed to stop racist bigotry, and the so-called free speech brigade simply needs to get over it. Sounds to me like you lot just silenced Australians who had nothing to do with Bondi. Resign. Another good point. You look at the Liberal website about freedoms. Well, they've just worked with a guy, Tony Burke, who's probably one of the masterminds behind this legislation. And he said, well, the free speech brigade can go get stuffed. There is no such thing. So not the first ALP politician to express that. Goes on and on and on. Oh, my God. They're in so much trouble. So much trouble. That's let's get back into let's see what's going on. Who's your man? Gemma, she usually comes up thing. Literally One Nation went from having 3 MLCs in New South Wales to 0. They have a record of members of parliament leaving them. Sorry, no. We aren't joining them and we aren't going anywhere. Oh, this is interesting. There is a place for libertarianism in Australia, even if we only represent a small percentage. Their voices are relevant. Sorry, Gemma, you've missed the boat. You libertarians have had just as long as One Nation to get where One Nation is. You've been in parliament just as long as One Nation, and you had chance after chance after chance to get where One Nation is. Sorry, Gemma. I've got a couple of, I'm really get on well with Jordan Ditloff. We had a great interview. I respect him. I respect David Limbrick. The best you can hope is to get 1 or 2 members of parliament because One Nation's coming, whether you like it or not. This was interesting. So this was taken before all this happened. Federal voting intentions, ALP 33, I dare say they'll go down. Liberals were 28. Well, they'll be below the 20s. They'll be in the teens. One Nation 19. So they're up +9, but it's bouncing. My guess is that One Nation and Liberals will switch, and I would be surprised if the ALP don't get hit as well. Now, Monica, she's an interesting one, Monica. She likes to talk. Let's have a listen to her.
Breaking news here in the circus down under. Our parliament has just passed the most comprehensive legislation against freedom of speech that the world has ever seen. But what makes this more of a circus is that the opposition major parties worked together to pass this legislation. So it would be like the Republicans and the Democrats working together. Yes, Australia has become a uni party. So much so that this new legislation can declare any group a hate group, which makes the group illegal. It means that the leaders of this group can go to prison. It also means that the members of this hate group can also go to prison. So in theory and absolutely in practice, this legislation gives the current government of Australia the ability to declare their opposition parties as hate groups and therefore illegal. A lot of Australians are now following a party called One Nation, and they are actually second in the polls for the first time in Australian history. A minor party has gone above one of the major parties. And so my prediction is that One Nation will be declared a hate group in the very near future, and Australia may as well be Russia or China.
She's an interesting one. I'm not a big fan. I've invited her to come on the podcast because we've butted heads a little bit. She doesn't reply to me anymore on social media. Now, this one, she was encouraging all her followers to become members of all the major parties. And now she's turning around and saying, well, they're a problem with One Nation, blah, blah, blah. If you actually listen, I'll give Tony Burke, I can't believe I'm about to say this. I'm about to give Tony Burke a little bit of credit from the interview today. So what he said, because this was asked of him, what the fears of a lot of legal people are is, can the government of the day do exactly what Monica said there? Can they ban One Nation? Now, according to Burke, and I wouldn't trust that guy as far as I can kick him, but if this is correct, it puts my mind at ease a little bit. Not as much, but a little bit. And what Burke said this morning when asked about this was, sorry, I'm just getting something up. Get my ugly face in there a little bit more. There we go. That's even uglier. So we can get that a bit better. Ah! Sorry, guys. I'm still getting used. Oh, give me a tick. There we go. That's better. All right. So what Burke actually said on this was the minister can only consider it if it's recommended by ASIO to him, to say, so if the head of ASIO comes up and says, hey, listen, I think you should look into this group, they're a hate group, that's the only time apparently under this legislation that a minister can consider labelling a group a hate group. So it would be a very big thing. Look, we talked about this last night. It would be a very big thing for them to try and label One Nation a hate group. Basically, they would be lighting a tinderbox. People would come out if they did that. There would be that big a protest, I think, about it, and they would try and shut it down. But I just don't see how they're going to go down that road. It would be a very enormous step, far bigger than what we've done here. And if it's relying on someone from ASIO, who wants to be the bureaucrat that goes there? Now, on the flip side, should we be giving an unelected bureaucrat that sort of ability to recommend that? And he would definitely have to justify it. So there's going to be a lot of things. Don't forget, this legislation went 500 pages long. I tried reading some of it last night. It was like trying to read another language. So a lot of this stuff will come out on where it lands and where it doesn't land in the coming weeks. The fact is, though, it is law now, and it was passed on law. And this is the point I think so many are making. Why was this thing so rushed? Why wasn't there committees that could ask these questions so these things come out? Now we're going to get pure conjecture like this from Monica, and the likes of her. So, you just got to be careful of clickbait. And to me, that's a little bit of clickbait. We'll go a couple more. And then, I've got to get my thing back. There we go. Let's see who else has got something to say. Everyone's Barnaby George saying lots of law against us. It would welcome at One Nation, but it's there yet. So he's happy to take some people on. I'd like to chat my comments from CNN. Yeah, you're right. Class swab. Stray day, isn't that? So they've relaxed the march laws now. So the protesters against Australia Day can march. Knew that was going to happen. Heather is so much thing. Love, this is what we're here for when we see a great PM attacked unfairly and repeatedly in federal parliament by a person that for the last 4 weeks made political mileage out of a tragic shooting. If we can't call it out, it goes unnoticed. The press won't tell the story. She's the love child of Albo. Unreal. It's now illegal to hate the Prime Minister of Australia. I'm going to keep hating him. Yeah. Maybe my notifications might be a bit more fun. Let's have a look. This one's getting a lot of response. So let's have a look. I think I'll get a better ratio than what... Yeah, 95. See, I'm doing far better than... I've got 95 likes off 560 views, so I'm far better off. My point was this. Liberal Australia, for 13 years, you've ignored your traditional base of voters ever since you knifed Tony Abbott. You ignored our warnings. You ignored your falling party numbers. You ignored the polls. You cast aside our communications. You chose to listen to woke educated political strategists. You never got out of your bubbles to discover the political pulse of everyday Australians. You consumed yourself with winning back inner city teal seats. You delivered us nothing but hubris and arrogance. You adopted Labor-light policies while ignoring your own values and beliefs on your very own website. You took us for granted and never thinking we would jump across to the likes of One Nation in significant numbers. Well, I hope you're battering down the hatches, because now you're about to reap a political whirlwind you've never seen before. Good luck. So that's, we've got a few. Well said. Now we just wait to see if the Liberals actually change course. They're not changing course. And how could you trust them if they did? Well, Effin said it's exactly what the LNP deserve, to have members relinquish their membership in protest. I think a lot of them have already done that. But they get to lose with dignity. I hope they get used to it. They have a lot more losing to do. They never ignored the globalist masses. Yeah, I knew that was coming. There's no going back. No. Agree, they've lost my vote. Media smears of One Nation incoming at 5-4. Well, they've been getting that for years. So, yeah, that'll get a bit of support by the looks of it. So they'll come back on screen. These are supposed to be, for anyone who's new to this, only go short periods of time, 30 minutes. I'm well over that at the moment, but it's a special occasion. So let's get my ugly mug back up, and I'll finish off with one last thought. The good thing out of all this is it's crystallised for a lot of us where we need to plant our support and our vote. And that's One Nation. That's where we got to go. If we're looking for a change of government that represents our values, One Nation is it, with maybe the National Party in tow. My concern with One Nation is, do they have the administrative abilities behind their politicians to pull this off? That is my concern. They're going to need serious funding. They're going to need some real serious administration behind it. You need those people that can administer your social media, your promotions, your advertising, your vetting of candidates, your recruitment of candidates, your satisfaction for your members, processing membership. They're going to get flooded with membership inquiries. Are they ready? There's a lot of report that Gina Reinhardt is behind One Nation. I hope she is, because she can then hopefully fund them recruiting staff and putting them on. Don't forget, at the start of this term of Parliament, Albo for the minor parties reduced their staff numbers. Now, the one thing I saw last night is how much of an impact that had on them for legislation. So they got legislation yesterday at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you download it. Go to the Australian Parliament website and download the legislation and the amendments and everything that went through. It is legal gobbledygook. I mean, you've got to sort of translate your way through it. And I've dealt with some of this through constitutions, through sports clubs. Now, that's nothing compared to this. So you really need some educated staff who can understand legal communications and writings and documents, who can go through this. And they had less than a day to go through it. Now, the AOP and Liberals would have a lot of staff to do this for them and put their recommendations to their MPs and whatever, and they'd get it done. But the minor parties and the independents, because Albo's removed their staff, they don't have anywhere near the chance. And this is why the Nationals, for example, they abstained in the lower house because they didn't have time to get through it all. And then they got to the upper house vote and they voted against, because they finally at least got through it and said, and even if you listen to Bridget McKenzie, even when they got to the Senate, they still weren't able to quite get through it as thoroughly as they would like. And the common denominator, why are we rushing? Why are we rushing this? Why is it going through? Would have been better to hold on. That was Andrew Hastie's argument 3 days ago, and then he backflipped. So there's a lot of questions that need answering. Sad part, doesn't matter now. That's all she wrote. But they're our laws. What they've got to start getting busy doing now is to write up some legislation to repeal these laws and any other law that impinges on our free speech. So I hope, a lot of people are against this. I'm not. They've got to target and recruit. Barnaby says he's not prepared to do that. Well, then what's he doing there? He's got to be prepared to get the best brains out of the LNP, whether they're Liberal or National. Get the people who share their values, have been, muted by the restrictions of being in one of those parties, and get them across, because these people have ministerial experience. Now, you might all write that off. You need that sort of experience of being in government, how a government functions, how to get legislation through, how to play the political game. And while Pauline's been in the Parliament for a while, she's only been an opposition senator. That's all. She's never held reins of government. She has got no experience in that. And I think, you need experience. Barnaby's got some experience, so he's a handy pickup, but they need to get more. You can't put, like the guys they've got on the backbench. So listen to me, he sounded reasonable. he made a speech last night, but you can just see he's not used to being in that environment. And you definitely don't want people who are going to, especially the most important roles, learning on the job. So, for example, your treasurer, they've got to be a person who can understand the budget and, the tax system and all that sort of stuff. So if I was Barnaby, I'd be trying to recruit Angus Taylor. He served as treasurer and he served as the shadow treasurer. And there's a man that's been extremely quiet. Extremely quiet. If you're in the Liberal Party leadership, you'd be saying too quiet. So, but even if he gets the Liberal Party leadership, no one's going to trust him again. So they need to get people with ministerial experience who share the values of One Nation, who they can be confident in. And it's either them or the Nationals, anybody like that. I'd even be recruiting people who are sitting outside the parliament potentially to go join the ranks. Now, for example, I know he'd never do this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know he'd never do this. But if I was Barnaby, I'd be going talking to Tony Abbott. Give him a ministry that he, for example, one thing he used to love getting involved in was Indigenous affairs. Make him Minister of Indigenous Affairs. Go get people like that back into true conservatives, not frickin' moderates. People who love this country and want to see what it was, and recruit them. Find whatever way you can do that. That is one thing the One Nation has to do. They have to do that. Then they have to recruit enough people to stand as candidates can win a seat. That's going to be challenging. Then they've got to develop relationships with independents, minor parties, because they're not a minor party anymore. The Nationals, I don't think, the Liberals are going to get slaughtered, I think. They end up with 5 seats after the next election, I'll be surprised. But they've still got to start recruiting these sort of things and building up relationships so they can pass legislation. It's going to be a big enough effort to win enough lower house seats to form a government. For them to get a majority in the upper house, who knows? But I doubt it. But I never thought One Nation would be in this position anyway. So we're in uncharted waters. I mean, if the ALP and Liberals keep going as they are, there could be a tsunami of votes going towards One Nation. But they've got to be ready. They've got to grab it. They've got to be able to handle it. The good part, they've got 2 years to get their stuff together. They've got to get people, for example, down here in Melbourne, Victoria. They've got to field candidates and put some time in down here, not just up in Queensland. Because there's a lot of seats down here in Melbourne and Victoria, and there's a lot of people pissed off with the ALP. So, you've got to get down here and you've got to start fighting in these states as much as you fight in Queensland. So they've got an enormous amount of work to do. But the reward, if they get it done, the reward there is for the taking. So, and that's what it's done. It's crystallized it for us all. So be like me. I'm going to be contacting Pauline Hanson's office and Malcolm Roberts' office, and I'll try even Barnaby, and I'm going to make an offer of support. I can't support them financially, but I can support them through these live streams, give them a platform, and do what I can to promote them. They're the only party that go anywhere near my values, and they're very close to them. So the Liberals have shown their hand. They're not going to come back. They're not going to come back to what they were. The moderates obviously still dominated, and they don't deserve to be trusted. And if the ones who are conservative stay in the Liberal Party ranks, they're insane. Jump ship, get out. And everyone's going to forgive you for doing it. So just do it. Anyway, that's enough of a rant. Didn't quite get what we wanted with Andrew Hastie's office. Let's see where that leads to. Got something with Alex Antics. Hopefully that can lead to an interview or something, and we can build that before. It was a little bit of fun. I was hoping for a bit more, but anyway, that's all right. At least we had a crack. So I'll see you all, what is it today? Wednesday. See you all tomorrow, about 3 o'clock again, around about that time, depending on work. And we'll have probably a more normal Charlie Kirk Bible reading Bob Rant. But it was fun. So as I always say, everyone, sorry, I'm just trying to get, what have I got? I need my glasses. Sorry. Like I say, always, everyone, signing off. God bless. God bless your kids. God bless your grandkids. God bless your pets. God bless that flag. God bless One Nation. We need you. And God bless that bloody country. All right, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.